Welcome to Kethis City Force. As far as our opening hand goes, yes. Yeah, Mana Crypt and Soul Ring and 2 colored sources. Yes, sign me up. I like that. We'll probably not going to roll it out super quick. We are playing against Padeem, so Padeem's going to be doing some busted stuff. But when you got Mana Crypt and Soul Ring in your opening hand, that is a very wonderful feeling. So we'll probably lead off with Shram really quick. Hopefully we can cash in some card draw and get this game started. But yes, welcome to Kethis. Hope you're excited for some Obzon Voltron. This is I love this deck. It's a lot of fun. Let's go for Bayou. Yeah, I think that'd be good. We go Bayou, and then next turn we can go for Soul Ring. Actually, probably jam at Worldly Tutor, I think, right now. I'm trying to figure out what exactly we want to grab with this Worldly Tutor. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go and go for a Worldly Tutor. Let's go and grab a creature to put on top, and we'll see what's going to help us out against Padeem. When you're playing against Mono Blue, you do have to watch out for, counter spells. If we can get this to stick right now, I kind of do like that line of play. And if our opponent's going to flood the board, I think I kind of like grabbing Miri. So let's do that. So we're going to grab Miri. That's going to go on top of our library. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We could go for Mana Crypt and Soul Ring, but we don't really have much to do. I mean, we could go for a quick Immortal Sun next turn, but we'll just kind of slow roll that out just a little bit. So we're playing Kethis, the Hidden Hand, and I'll kind of explain that here in a second, why we might slow roll some fast mana. Let's lead off with the Scrub Land. Let's go for Soul Ring. And then we'll go for Shram. Yeah, one of the things in Magic Online, and I'm not saying our opponent would have done this, but sometimes when you have those affinity starts of Soul Ring and Mana Crypt, I mean, in multiplayer Commander, you're like, okay, there's a new threat at the table, but especially 1v1, it's just hard to come back from that sometimes. So we'll at least kind of go for Mana Crypt next turn. We are playing Kethis, the Hidden Hand. Legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, then exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard. Until end of turn, each legendary card in your graveyard gains. You may play this card from your graveyard. Playing against Padeem, Council of Innovation. And let's see. Ooh, Sword of Feast and Famine. So we can go Mana Crypt. I think that'd be pretty good. Yeah, let's do that. So we go Mana Crypt. And then we're going to go for Sword of Feast and Famine. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And what that's going to allow us to do is we're going to be able to cash in a card draw. And it's also going to allow us to go for, it's going to equip it onto. So we need to equip for 2. So we go for the equip. Let's go 2 mana. And once we equip this onto Shram, that's going to allow us to swing in, make our opponent discard a card, and at the same time untap our lands. We're not looking at untapping 2 lands, but at this point that'll work out pretty well. So we're going to go for the Sword of Feast and Famine trigger, make them discard a card. That still gives us the option to go for Shauna, Sisei's Legacy, which is always nice to be able to get down an extra creature. So let's go for Shauna. There we go. Get her down, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Playing against Padeem, artifacts you control have Hexproof. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control the artifact with the highest converted mana cost or tied for the highest converted mana cost, draw a card. So they're going to be able to cash in some pretty good card draw pretty quick with Padeem. And Padeem's one of those decks that it just feels like the longer Padeem sticks around on the battlefield and the bigger their board state develops, you're always like, I think I'm going to lose soon. All right, so we lost the Mana Crypt trigger. We're 0 for 1 on those triggers, and then we run into Temple of Silence. So let's go for Temple of Silence. It's going to enter the battlefield tapped, get the Scry going, the Scurry, the Fever. Since we are a little bit tight on colored sources, I think we will end up putting that on top of our library. I think that'll be okay. And let's go for the Immortal Sun. Planeswalkers do work out really well in mono blue, so let's go for the Immortal Sun. And the good thing about this is it's going to give us some extra card draw, which we definitely do need. So let's go and push in. That's going to be 8 coming across. They're going to have to discard 1 card, untap our 3 lands, and that allows us to go for Kathis, which is going to be a great option to go for. Now, one thing that we do want to see with the Immortal Sun, hopefully sometime soon, is that we get down, get some sort of card draw going with Shram. That'll helps if we tap the correct mana. So let's go black. We need to tap green on Bayou. There we go. It's like when you cast these 3-colored commanders, it's like your brain forgets how to operate. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Now, I will say this. This is a very good start to us. Anytime you have Soul Ring and Mana Crypt, it allows you to do some pretty busted things. So you can see we've got a pretty quick Immortal Sun out there. And that's going to allow us to basically get kind of cut off Padeem's card draw ability, which is a really good option for us. So definitely like that. We'll probably end up going for Miri next turn. That's going to allow us to kind of slow down this combat roll. I'm not sure what type of Padeem deck our opponent has, but being able to kind of stop the, them flooding the board with a ton of artifacts is a good option for us. So we're going to cash in an extra card draw off of the Immortal Sun. Drawn to Kimba. I killed Mufasa Kimba, and we'll go for Silent Clearing. And I think, yeah, so we can go for Miri. Let's make sure we got the Miri that's going to be white. So we have Miri enter the battlefield. We're going to go for Kimba. No, excuse me, I forgot about the reduced cost off Kethis for a second. We could have done that a little bit differently. We didn't have to take damage off that talisman. So let's go Kimba. We'll have Kimba enter the battlefield, and then we might end up going for the Sword of Feast and Famine stuff onto our creatures, but we'll kind of see. Let's go and swing in. Attack our opponent. That's going to be 10. That's going to be 15 coming across. So it's going to be a very sizable threat. We'll see what else they have to show for it. Now, we are completely open to some sort of Cyclonic Rift or something like that. We may want to watch out for that. So at least kind of need to be on the lookout for that. But at least at this point, this is very good showing of what we're going to be doing in Kathis. If you haven't seen this deck before, this is a heavy Voltron build of the deck. And since we do have Silent Clearing open to draw a card, I think we're simply just going to go and pass the turn. But yeah, this is pretty much how you want it to play out. You want to be able to get down a lot of different Voltron pieces. Even getting some sort of reduced cost off the Immortal Sun is a great option. And at this point right now, we could have shifted. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. Yeah, I don't blame him. Once you get that mana going really quick and you end up with a sizable board state like Miri, it makes it really hard to do anything about that. So anyway, shout out to our opponent for playing this one out, letting us get to this far in the game. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Kethis, the Hidden Hand. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, we'll keep on this. So we've got Argos Bloodfast, we have Sram, Verdus the Vet. Yeah, I like this. We're going to keep. I'd like to have a green source for that 3 visits, but we can definitely make this work. We've got Talisman down, and between Argos Bloodfast and Sram, hopefully drawing some cards. Hopefully we can find that green source and get down Kethis. But yes, welcome to the Kethis City Force. Hope you're excited to get some legendary Voltron going on our side of the battlefield. So we're playing Kethis, the Hidden Hand. Legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Then exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard until end of turn. Legendary card in your graveyard. Until end of turn, each legendary card in your graveyard gains. You may play this card from your graveyard. Playing its Omnath, Locus of the Roil, and we'll cover that in just a... Oh, look at that Soul Ring. Let's go Temple of Silence and get the Scry going. The Scurry, the Fever, Lana Warwaste, definitely put that on top. That'll help out with our Insanity. And then anything else, pass turn to our opponent. Playing its Omnath, Locus of the Roil. Whenever Omnath enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to any target equal to the number of elementals that you control. Then, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control, put a +1 counter on target elemental you control. If you control 8 or more lands, draw a card. So, if you haven't seen Omnath yet, I did put on Omnath not that long ago, and I ended up going for kind of like a really heavy enter the battlefield damage build of it, and it's pretty fun. I need to build it, and they're just releasing so many. Not build it, but I need to record with it again. And they're releasing so many commanders recently that's just kind of hard to keep up sometimes. So it feels a little overwhelming. And they just got our first the new set spoiler that's coming out this fall too. Just spoiled today one of the new commanders. So I'm kind of like, okay. So the cycle's happening again. But yeah, we covered Kethis, we covered Omnath. We'll go for 3 visits with that Lano Warwaste, and then we'll jump into our sponsors, and then we can have some free time. So let's go. Lano Warwaste, that's going to be 1 green mana. Temple of Silence, go for 3 visits. And I think at this point, we'll probably end up grabbing... We do have some double white in here, so let's just grab ourselves a Savannah, have that come into play untap, go for Soul Ring, and then we can actually go Talisman of Hierarchy. I think that'd be pretty good. Pretty good little turn. And then anything else, kick it back over to our opponent. So let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. You can build your very own Kethis deck, whatever sort of legendary build you want to go for. MTGOTraders has you covered, so be sure to check them out. And also, shout out to inkgaming.com. You can use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order. I'll say you're in the market for a custom playmat, dice bag, or a t-shirt, whatever it may be, they have got you covered. Or you can type in JOLT539 to see some of my t-shirt designs and my playmat designs. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. You can get your name in the credits at the beginning or the ending, or if you can't join, hey, no problem. Just tell somebody about the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. So, but it is officially free time. We can have some fun. So we're off to a really good start. We got 3 lands on the battlefield. We're gonna have our 4th colored source with Scrub Land. We've got 3 mana in artifacts. So we can actually get off to Sram, Verdus the Veiled. Probably end up going for Kethis, that way we can get that really nice reduced cost. That does put our opponent in a spot to where if they do end up getting down Omnath, they can deal some damage to Kethis. But with Kethis sitting at a 3/4 and them having no elementals, I feel like that'll be pretty good. And opponent went for Lotus Cobra. You can see, typically you don't see a lot of Lotus Cobra in Commander, but it is a Very, very strong card. You know, there's a lot of times where you just make a fetch land that's 1 mana in the air, floating, get the land that's 1 more mana floating, then you have the land to tap, so that's 3 mana. So just having Lotus Cover, being able to turn a land drop into into 3 mana is such a nice feeling. You know what? Let's go for Kethis. I think that'll be pretty good. So we're gonna cast Kethis. Well, if Kethis entered the battlefield, and that does put us on maybe going for Srom, I think. If we wanted to, because it's only going to be one more colored source. So we'll have Scrubland enter the battlefield. Yeah, and I think we need to go Srom, because if we end up going Srom, if we just run into any piece of equipment, that's our legendary equipment, that's going to allow us to get some card draw going, and that's pretty much what we're trying to do with this deck. And let's, for the very last one, yeah, I'm afraid with Virtus being a 1/1, that's just going to be a prime target for Omnath. So let's just go for Argos Bloodfast off of Talisman. So, excuse me, we'll untap that Soul Ring. There we go. Because I forget that Argos Bloodfast is a legendary enchantment. It's just kind of weird to mentally factor that in sometimes, that you have legendary enchantments that get a reduced cost off of Kethis. So anything else, we'll go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Now, if you haven't seen this Kethis build before, it is a ton of fun. We're going heavy Voltron. We've got Voltron creatures that we can just stick as much equipment on, so cards like Virtus the Veiled, when it deals combat damage, we're going to be able to make them lose half their life rounded up. We've got a few other good options. A lot of the cats in here. We've got Nazan, Hammer of Nazan, we've got Miri. Those are all just wonderful options that we can either get stuff onto Miri, or we can actually get down Kimba. And once we get a lot of that equipment onto Kimba, that's going to give us a lot of cat tokens. So pretty much the core concept of this deck is basically trying to get us down as much legendary equipment or creatures, and just kind of see what sort of board state we can develop. This deck is very much kind of like an aristocrat's deck, in that we're not sacrificing creatures, but the games tend to play out differently every single time. You know, we may have Virtus game. We can threaten Virtus with an unblockable source somehow. Or there's other times where we get a ton of equipment onto Kimba, and we get a lot of cat tokens on the battlefield. So that's one of the fun things about building this. But as far as Kethis goes, that's the other cool thing is you can go legendary planeswalkers. You can go Abzan control with Kethis. There's Anafenzas hanging around out there. So there's a lot of, kind of Death and Taxes style builds you can do with Kethis. There's a lot of options out there. The fact that Kethis just gives you that reduced cost off a legendary spell, getting down Argos Bloodfast for 1. It's wonderful. I'll take it. At least it's really explosive turns. And all right, so our opponent's going to go for Scape Shift. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's see what they're up to on this. Okay, so our opponents end up going for Field of the Dead and Valakut, and then Guy's Cradle. I don't know, because with Valakut, you need to have at least 5 other mountains, and there's no mountains. Yeah, everything they sacrificed, that was a lot of mountains. So they're really far away from Malakut, getting those mountains down. But as far as Field of the Dead, there are 6 different lands on the battlefield. So once that ends up happening, simply just them cracking Wooded Foothills, that'll still put it at 6. So we're definitely at a spot to where that Field of the Dead will be online pretty quick. So hopefully we can run into some sort of board wipe to help us kind of control that. The only downside with Field of the Dead is that, that's just an effect that we're going to have to deal with the entire game. So we're almost going to need to kind of force some sort of issue with some sort of unblockable force. But the main thing is we need to get some card draws. So let's see what else our opponent has in store for the turn, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so it looks like we at least survived that turn. Our opponent tapped a bunch of mana for Scape Shift, cast Scape Shift. They got down Crucible of Worlds, and then that's going to put them on Guruk Wildspeaker to untap a couple different lands. They can crack Wooded Foothills to grab a red source that doesn't turn on Valakut. It definitely doesn't turn on Valakut, but that should give them one more zombie with Field of the Dead and make this guy's Cradle tap down pretty good. So we're definitely not in a good spot right now. Especially with these zombies coming down, and especially if they end up getting down Omnath. So we'll see what else they get down. Okay, and that finally will be Omnath coming down. That's only going to be 1 damage from Omnath that they're going to deal out. So we'll see where they decide to send that over. More than likely, it's going to go up top, because if they target any of our creatures, they're still going to be able to stick around. The only good thing about them getting down Omnath is it does give us the option to go for Virtus the Veiled. So that'll be one way we can attack our opponent's life total. But there are 0 cards in hand, so that is a good thing, but we still have the zombie Field of the Dead. And this is where, playing something Scape Shift and Omnath with a landfall deck, Field of the Dead and Valakut, if you have that necessary mountain requirement, that is such a good thing. All right, so we run into Concealed Courtyard, which I'm thinking is not exactly what we want to see. So let's go for Virtus the Veiled. And that's going to be a reduced cost because we need to leave up as much black mana as possible. That way we can go for Argle Bloodfast activations. So we're going to have Virtus enter the battlefield. I think we might end up going for Ancient Tomb. Yeah, well, definitely, yeah, choose target player. And then we're going to grab Gorm the Great. That way we can keep Virtus happy. That way he's got his little partner over there. Yeah, and I think we actually just go for Gorm. I mean, because that's going to give us a blockable creature on the battlefield that can stop some of those tokens. And we'll tap down for one more mana. There we go. Tap down Talisman. And that's going to be Gorm entering the battlefield. So, we've got a pretty good little board stat they probably don't want to swing into just yet. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, they don't run into a land. Hey, Virtus is already on the battlefield, man. Don't worry about it. I guess we'll still shuffle the library, but yeah, we'll just do that and then click OK. We'll get down Ancient Tomb because by getting down Ancient Tomb, that at least gives us 2 activations off of Argle's Bloodfast. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So we're just going to go and sit back at this point right now. If we can run into some sort of equipment from Argle's Bloodfast, that will allow us to get some card draw with Srom once he's on the battlefield, once we cast that. And so at this point, we just need to get some card draw going. So we'll go for some activations with Argle's Bloodfast. And if something does end up happening, this is Commander. Crazier things have happened. We might end up being able to get Temple to flip, and then we can start sacrificing some of these creatures because that's going to be their toughness. So we can even sacrifice Gorm to gain some life, and that would be a pretty good thing. But that's the other good thing about this deck is we have a pretty good mix of legendary creatures in here. So even if we need to go chump blocker on Omnath for a little bit, we can certainly make that work. And between Guy's Cradle and Guruk Wildspeaker, they're going to have a ton of mana. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're looking at Guy's Cradle tapping down for 6, or 7 down once that zombie enters the battlefield. And so they've only got 2 cards in the hand, so we'll see what they end up showing for the turn, though. And all right, so in response to that, they're going to go for Mystical Tutor. So let's see. They do have to reveal off of that, so we'll get this popped up and see what the reveal zone shows for us. Oh, there they go. So they ended up going Cyclonic Rift. That does allow them to get in for a pretty good chunk of damage. I mean, we're still going to have the Argle's Bloodfast activations to go for, but with that Cyclonic Rift, we almost need to run into a board wipe just to even think about being able to kind of control what's happening on our opponent's side over there. Okay, so they're going to go Cyclonic Rift Overloaded. In response to that, and let's go for I'm going to go for a few activations. Let's go Argle's Bloodfast. That's going to be Demonic Tutor. Okay, that is definitely going to allow us to grab a board wipe. And let's go for one more activation off of Bloodfast, and that'll be Single Combat. Okay, so that is something that can kind of help us out too. So they're going to send everything back to the hand. That's going to bring back Soul Ring. Luckily, we can still rebuild pretty quick because that's going to be Scrubland, Ancient Tomb, for the Demonic Tutor, 1 colorless for Soul Ring. Yeah, we can still end up going Damnation to kind of clean the board up. So, only downside is they can still keep those zombies going with Field of the Dead. But let's see what else they have showing. And actually, now that I think about it, they end up going for the -4 off of Guruk Wildspeaker, giving them +3/+3 and Trample. Yeah, about to say that's probably going to be it right there. Because that's going to be 5/10, that's going to be 18. Yeah, that's going to be lethal. So good game to our opponent. You can see where even going for just kind of a quick scape shift where you don't really have an active Valakut, but just simply just being able to get tokens on the battlefield with Field of the Dead and getting that Stampede effect from Guruk Wildspeaker is more than enough to close it out. So good game to our opponent. It was a great showing of Omnath, Locus of the Roil, of what you can do with all the different lands. And, just being able to get that card draw whenever land enters the battlefield is such a huge thing, and especially being able to get those +1 counters. So shout out to our opponent. That was a really good game. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.